Hi Jared, it's Kim Wright. I am going to talk you through a little bit about what I did with my unit. We're doing the prehistory to the modern age, so we're discussing quite a few different astronomers, and so I wanted to make sure everything was as organized as possible. So I have each lesson in its own folder, and then in each folder there are several different sections that they go through. So I tried to make that easy for them. The other thing, they go ahead and they have something telling them how to get started. And it gives them the basics about what they will need to do. So that is there for them to refer back to at any time. Their objectives are listed, but again, the kids probably won't read through them. They do have them on their checklist, which I'll talk about in a second. And then I give them their instructions for their overview of the website. So some of the things that I did, just in general, each lesson, and I'm probably going to focus on this particular one just because it's up at the top here. Each lesson has an introduction, and so on the introductions portion of the lesson, there's an introduction that I give them about what they'll be doing within the unit. And then for for every page, I've gone through and I've written out the basics that they need to know for everything. So their introduction page is literally just a summary of everything they need to know. And I try to keep my sense of humor about me. I love Kermit at Stonehenge. I think that's so funny. Anyways, they have this basic layout so they know each time. Now, once they do that, and I'll talk about discussion boards in a second. They have their web pages, which gives them more information. So this is the basics of the purpose of Stonehenge. Everything they need to know up at the front has been written by me. And then what it is that there's more enrichment, things that they need to know a little bit further, things that will reinforce what I've written is done in video and in many times in articles. I also have I think two interactive images in here. So there's one here for Stonehenge and there's another one with Galileo stuff. So they have images as well. I tried to vary their learning activities. So that they have the interactive image. One of the other things that we did is the discussion boards. Oh, shoot. So one of the ways that they're presenting their assignments is in a group. So they're collaborating here as a group, and they are being put in an authentic situation, trying to solve what it is that they are going to, how they're going to solve this particular problem using the night sky, given the parameters that they have. So they'll work with a partner to do that. So that's one way they're collaborating. I also tried to vary, another way I tried to vary their learning is by giving them many different activities. So they are, sometimes you have the discussion boards. Sometimes they have, for instance, there's a poplet that they need to create. So sometimes they have a lesson here asking them to make a poplet. They're collaborating with each other using Twitter, doing a Twitter war when they get to Copernicus. So they'll actually, again, they're collaborating with each other, communicating with each other, trying to figure out what's going on here. And whose is better. They also, let's see. Oh, I tried to vary how they are learning it as well. So for instance, sometimes they have animated videos. This particular one has an animated video. And I'm having a hard time with my animated videos today for some reason. I hope that's not a permanent thing. I went through and solved some of them, but we'll see. Anyways, there is an animated video here, as well as another way. This is a blabberized, so Copernicus is talking to them about how they are going to learn. In addition to videos, they have animations that they need to go to help them visualize. They have, so with the pyramids, they have a virtual tour that they can take. I also, like I said, I try to keep my sense of humor about me. I'm talking about the pyramids. I could not resist giving them walking like an Egyptian to see, right? Um, so yeah, I tried. One of the pieces of feedback that you guys gave me was the dense amount of text that there was. So I tried to keep the text, but then add as many pictures as possible in here. So I tried to give them more white space, more areas to read, so it wasn't so overwhelming when they got to the activities, or when they got to the reading thing there. So some of the things that I wish that I could improve is I'd like there to be more ways to vary some of their learning. I feel like each time they go to the page, they read, they watch a video, they read an article. And that can, I would imagine, become tedious over a long unit. So I wish that there was some way to mix that up a little bit more and still give them the information that they need. At the same time, it's giving them different ways that they can learn the information. So I think that that's good. I think it's so standard. But I guess routine can be good too. I also know that there are times when I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be. So sometimes it'll tell them, and I don't have any particular things picked out here, but sometimes it'll tell them when they read an article, say click here for the article, and sometimes it'll actually have the name of the article highlighted. And I went back and I tried to change those, but I know that there's some in there that might confuse the kids a little bit. I also wish that I could explain the navigation of Schoolology a little bit better. They may have a hard time navigating from page to page, just because sometimes it tells them to go next. Sometimes they have to come up here and use the breadcrumbs. So it depends on whether they're going from folder to folder or page to page. So that type of thing I think is a little confusing. I did forget to point out a couple more things that in general I tried to do with the unit. I meant to have a checklist for everything. So for each section they're doing, these are the lesson assignments that they have to turn in by the end of the assignment, and this is what has to be on their website. So they have a checklist telling them exactly what they need to do. And I tried to break the checklist down out so it was word for word and item for item what they needed. So I did that for each one of the units or each one of the lessons. So I forgot to tell you about that. I know that there are other things I probably wanted to tell you, and I know that there are other things that I probably told you too many times, but other than pointing out that I did list my sources, some of them are highlighted and some of them are not, and that they have a summing up video to kind of sum up everything that they've learned. I don't think there's anything else that I can think of to tell you right now, so I'll probably finish this video and I'll turn it in, and then I'll realize that there's more that I want to say. But of course, and I always say this at my end of my videos, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and hopefully you enjoy going through the unit. I know you were excited about the subject matter, so hopefully I've done it some justice and you will enjoy it. So thanks for a great semester. It was a lot of work, but it was definitely worthwhile in the end. So have a great day.